Papa Joe, the South Waikato Pacific Island Community Services Health Conference, a Wellbeing Conference, a great success.
Yeah, it is. I must say I was very surprised, pleasantly surprised with the conference. It's been for the 2 days, last night and tonight. To me, it's been a huge success. The organizing by you people, by Tokoro, I thought was fantastic there. And the interaction of the people at both conferences was first class. Now, I can't speak for the women folk. You need to talk to Dr. Wunton and Metor about that. But for the men folk, when we gave the presentation on prostate cancer and erectile dysfunction here in this room, the response, the interaction, the questions, I thought was first class. You know, they were searching questions. When we started, I made a comment to, don't wait until the end to ask your questions, stop me and ask the questions there. And I was surprised. 1 or 2 slides, the hand would go up. And then we'd discuss. And another 1 or 2 slides, and another hand would go up there. And that's how the discussion took place. I was surprised. I've given a lot of presentations to community organizations here in Auckland and in New Zealand and in the Pacific on prostate cancer, even in Gisborne there. And I've even given it to the executive board of the New Zealand Prostate Cancer Foundation. I thought the interaction of Tokoroa last night was the best. It was the best. It's the type of questions they were asking, searching questions to look for, for explanation, for understanding about the 2 conditions, prostate cancer and erectile dysfunction. You were here, yeah. And you saw what was happening there, and the questions were coming from all over, the comments from all over the room. I thought it was fantastic.
Were you surprised at the number of men who didn't put their hand up after asking around PSA?
Yes, I was surprised there. In all the conferences that we have, I asked that question: how many of you men here have had your blood test for prostate specific antigen for PSA? I was very surprised. There were only 4. 4 out of how many men were here last night?
50 plus.
50 plus 4. I was very surprised there. And it gave a message there that perhaps the Tokoroa men were a bit too reluctant to come forward and do something about their health. It told me that they're not looking after themselves, not just for the prostate cancer, but also for other illnesses like heart diseases, like diabetes there. And but this is the general trend right throughout, not just Tokoroa, throughout New Zealand, throughout the Pacific. The reluctance of men, I suppose some of them are a bit akama. They don't want to talk about their personal problems there. But I think we need to break that down in Tokoroa. And I think the message that got across to them, the way they were nodding and discussing, that the need to go and see their doctor and get them tested for prostate cancer there. Even the message that put across, when you see your doctor for anything other than a prostate thing, and when you have a blood test, ask your doctor to just tick that one box for the prostate cancer test. I hope the message has got there. They need to ask the doctor.
I think some of the men too are a bit reluctant in regards to how they used to test for prostate checks, which is now simply a blood test.
Yeah, and I think it's because there was a lack of understanding of what that test is. they thought it was more something like the rectal examination there, which a lot of people don't like. A lot of men don't like, particularly Pacific men, the Indian men and the Chinese men. It's part of their culture to resist any attempt for that putting the finger up the rectum and feeling the prostate. They're resistant. As I said last night, one person came in, and I hope the young lady in the back won't mind when I asked him for me to do that examination. Then he said to me, "What are you going to do?" So I explained to him, I'm going to put my finger in his rectum and feel the prostate. And you remember what I said to last night, and the fellow said, "You're not going to stick your bloody finger up my bum." Now that's the general attitude among Pacific people there. But then again, you see, we should not be fully resistant to that type of examination, especially when your test is high. When the blood test tell you there is the possibility that you have cancer. Remember I said last night the type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4, especially when you get to the type 2, type 3 there. When there is a need to do that examination, then men must agree to that. It may save their lives. Unpleasant as it may seem, and also culturally insensitive it may seem, it may still be the one thing that may save their lives.
One thing that a lot of the men were talking about last night was Chloe's presentation in regards to the young people, the mokopuna, the grandchildren, wanting their grandparents to be around as long as they can possibly, and a small test like with a medical professional, that could save their lives and it could prolong their relationship with their grandchildren.
So one of the difficulties with men is they tend to hide their condition from their womenfolk, from their wives. They seem to think and have the impression that the prostate cancer is only their problem. That's the wrong impression, because I keep giving the message that problem is not just for men, it's for women also. It affects you as an individual. You're the one that gets the cancer, but the effect flows on to your wives and to your children. And after you die, if you keep it to yourself, you die early. After you die, what about your family? They're the ones that are going to suffer after you go. And I hope that message would be accepted by the men. But looking at the response last night, I think they did. And in summing up in the end, a lot of them are nodding their heads. And the reports that I've had this morning from men coming up and say thank you for the presentation. And when we got to the erectile dysfunction there, the discussion was even more enthusiastic.
You mentioned the young lady behind us. That's my cousin Tapairu. She's third year medical school.
Yes, I know. I know who she is. She's also family.
Yeah. Of course.
And I know she's fourth year medical student.
So what do we need to do to encourage our young Cook Island men, our young Cook Island women to get into the medical field?
Now, what the Pacific Medical Association is doing now, and that the president of the association is our own Cook Island son, Dr. Kiki Mawate. He's the president of the association. What we're trying to do is we're going into schools, secondary schools in Auckland, to reach out to them to go into health professions there, to take the necessary grounding subjects at school, science subjects, to get them prepared for university. So the option of becoming a dentist, a doctor, a nurse, radiographer, radiologist, any of the health professions will be there before them. That's what we're doing now. And I think I'll talk to Kiki and the chief executive to extend that here to Tokoroa for the Pacific Medical Association to come here and enter the high school here in Tokoro and talk to people. Elsa's father was telling me last night that the teachers, when she was going to school here, the teachers didn't think that she could make it to university. Now, which is the wrong message that teachers should be giving. Teachers here and anywhere should always encourage people to look ahead if they want to enter university. Give them their encouragement. See, the same thing happened to me of what ails a God. When I decided to go to the university, I was told by a papa'a man who was organizing our university trip, and he said to me very straight, "You can't make it. Yeah, you can't make it. You want to be a dentist," because I decided to be a dentist. He said, "No, it's going to be too hard for you. You can't make it." And I looked at him, and this Aitutaki Pito Aitutaki came to the fore and says, "Bugger you, I'm going to do it there." And I think that's probably what happened to Ailsa too. And children, people should be encouraged to pursue what their interests are in life. They shouldn't be discouraged.